Hey guys, what's going on? Roundedtiktak here, and I hope you guys enjoyed the last video. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to do so. Full clear of endurance twine peaks. It's a lot of fun to make that video. It was a lot of fun to do the entire thing. Today we're checking out the AstroBat 9000, the brand new club weapon that was just released right now. Club, light, retro sci-fi, a fairly quick bat with high damage and low impact, energy slam, heavy attack that launches an explosive energy ball at the enemies, dealing damage in an area. So we just picked ours up. Let's go and actually level this bad boy up, check it out, and see if it's worthwhile in any sense of the word. The problem is there is not many heroes in the game that you can actually run this on. There is literally one, count them, one hero in the entire game that gives you extra club damage. So we're going to avoid that altogether, and we're probably going to be playing it on Luna. Luna, as you know, is my favorite character, and in my opinion, the absolute best hero in the entire game right now, with her insane amount of damage, insane survivability, and tons of mobility as well. So we're going to try it out on Luna with probably a corrosive strikes and assassination build, and just work on some base damage numbers to amplify her Saurian claws. With all of that being said, let's take a look at exactly how you might want to roll this thing and exactly the best way to do so. Number one, you're gonna make a shadow shard. Any kind of melee weapon in the game, you're gonna make shadow shards. Slower hitting weapons that you can modify their attack speed, there's absolutely no reason to get the bonus base damage. So almost every single time, make your melee weapons shadow shard. Once we finish this up and we finish leveling it up, we're gonna take a look at the base stats. So first, let's take a look at a few things, the base stats, the 6th perk, and exactly how you might want to level this up. Originally, I was thinking about maybe just doing a regular crit chance, crit damage build, but I think to showcase this weapon at least, I'm going to play around with the build a little bit. With an attack speed of 0.5, it's kind of on the slower side, but not too bad. Actually, it's right in the middle, go figure, at 0.5. The impact is semi-decent at 1349. Critical hit chance is 37.5, and that's with 115 crit rating, and critical hit damage is towards the low end at 50%. Now, if we take a look at exactly what the weapon does, when you right click, it takes about 40 energy, and you basically lob and hit an energy projectile that explodes in a one-tile radius, damaging all things around. Number one, I found out already that it scales off of your damage if you're using Saurian claws. So that means on a full build, you might want to try out something like that, and it hits for around 150,000. Now, if we are playing Paleo Luna, we're gonna mess around with attack speed. You know that you don't really need the crit chance, crit damage with Paleo Luna because everything scales off of that 16.5% Saurian Claws perk. So let's see if we can figure out our best way to incorporate the grenade and attack speed into the build, and we're gonna try to work around that. The last thing to take note of, critical hits causes 7 exploding projectiles. You guys know that perk on the Gamatron, the Plasmatron, all of those weapons. This is the same perk, which is something to take note of, because if it does crit, we're gonna have to see if the actual exploding ball does provide this 6th perk proc. If it does, that's dangerous, because if you're lobbing these grenade projectiles into a tunnel, we found out that the projectile, if hit perfectly on a propane, can ignite it. So you're gonna have to be careful here. Let's take a look at the rolls and exactly how you're going to do this, or at least how I'm going to do it, and then you can make up your mind if you want to follow along. First up, we have energy. We're just going to start leveling this bad boy up here. No big deal. You can't change it anyway. Next up, attack speed. I'm actually going to keep this. Out of the perks here, attack speed gives us the best bang for our buck if we're playing Paleo Luna, and we're going to be. This one, heavy attack efficiency. Not even a question about it. If you want to actually use this weapon in some kind of fun and effective way, you're going to need some heavy attack efficiency to take down that 40% amount. Critical rating, damage, armor, movement speed, attack speed. Again, we're gonna go attack speed, but if you don't want to play this on just Paleo Luna, you're probably gonna wanna do a critical rating here, because this last perk, you can do crit damage, and it might be worth it, but we're just going to stick with an attack speed on this last slot. Now, again, like I said, I really enjoy playing Paleo Luna, and I think she's one of the best heroes in the game, if not the absolute best. So this is kind of for her. But if you don't plan on playing this hero, well, you can do a regular crit chance double crit damage build here as well. At least I'm pretty sure you can. You absolutely can. Crit damage in the first slot, crit rating in the fourth slot, and again, crit damage in the fifth slot. You can choose to do a build like that. It will probably hit harder, but I guarantee you, if you play this on Paleo Luna, it's going to be the best you can get. The last thing we're going to do is this last perk. We're probably going to go crit rating here, and that is because we're probably going to put corrosive strikes into the build. Now that's the question where things get interesting. This is my Paleo Luna build. Saurian Claws, Blast from the Past, Saurian Hide, Saurian Focus, which work really, really well here. Going Coconuts, Corrosive Strikes, and Assassination. We're gonna have to find out if the secondary attack works with these two perks. Can Corrosive Strikes work on it? Can the Energy Ball actually crit? And if so, is it considered a melee attack, or can we use ability energy damage to buff that up? Let's see if we can find any crit numbers here. 148. Ooh, that looked like it did crit. Getting that double number with Saurian Claws, that usually means you did get a crit. We're gonna heal up to full again. It does look like you can crit. Ooh. Interesting. That means that 100% you can crit, because that was Corrosive Strikes that you just saw. So as you saw right there, that it can crit, and on top of Saurian Claws with the 44,000 extra damage plus the 140k, the crit damage on this weapon with double attack speed is about 210,000 damage in a one tile AoE, which is pretty damn good. The issue is that you have to build the weapon around one of two things. You can stack Corrosive Strikes, Assassination, stuff like that, but then you're really gimping yourself on the actual ball damage, the heavy attack damage, because you cannot stack it easily. Yes, you can stack it on a smasher or something very tanky, but you cannot stack it as you normally would with any other melee weapon. So you have to make a decision on what you want to bring. Since it can crit and hits decently hard, I suggest Corrosive Strike in the build, but in a few minutes we're going to talk about a different build you might want to try. It's interesting because almost every melee weapon in the game that they are releasing does have some sort of AoE clearing capability. Look at the new hammer, look at the new spear, look at the spectral sword. All of these weapons have some kind of crazy AoE secondary heavy attack, which is nice because, you know, the melee weapons are a single target for most part, and being able to basically right click and clean out a huge group of enemies is pretty nice and not to be underestimated. Now the question, does the secondary explosion cause propanes to blow up on their own? Ooh, it just provided a stun there. That's pretty interesting. I don't know if that was the actual bat or if it was just the projectile itself. Now, most heavy attacks do blow up propane, so if it does, I wouldn't be completely surprised here. This is pretty cool though. This is something that you could even throw on a soldier and have an incredible amount of ranged AoE. It basically looks like it's kind of a grenade that scales off of Saurian Claws, which is fantastic. I'm really happy it does. I'm really happy it does take the melee perks into consideration, allowing for some possible very strong builds. It definitely lights propanes, as you just saw. Another thing to take note is that the heavy attack is kind of interesting. Since it procs on hit effects on top of many other things, you can do a decent amount of burst damage. Take a look at this clip again. We're going to be hitting for a lot of damage, all with one button click. Let's try to see exactly how much we're hitting for here. From the best I can see, we have 5 damage numbers, maybe 6, and hitting for around 420,000 damage per swing. I don't know why it's hitting that many times. It's possible it could be hitting the melee hit from the bat. It crits, so that's 2 numbers, and then it adds corrosive strikes, that's 3 numbers, and then the plasma ball hits, that's 4 numbers, and then 5 numbers is the crit from Saurian Claws off of the plasma ball. That's a lot of damage for one button click. That's close to one of the highest damaging button clicks in the entire game. So that is something to take note as well. I did do a time to kill, but it's not necessary because we're running Saurian Claws. But if you were to run this on a regular ninja, the time to kill is not bad. You can use it on a constructor. The impact is high. The heavy attack can stun. I think the bat can stun on itself as well. And it provides a small amount of CC, a decent amount of AoE, and sticking on a character that has none is not the worst idea in the world. Specifically, again, Paleo Luna, where you don't have to spec into any kind of individual weapon damage. You can use any weapon to the best of its ability, doing a little less damage than a normal ninja, but enough to where it matters. That's really it, guys. This one is done and in the bag, the AstroBat. I thought of everything I could possibly think of to try it out. It is very interesting that it works off melee perks, so if something does come out that maybe adds something in there, you could think about using it. You are going to have to decide if you want to buff the ball or the melee swings in general because of assassination and stuff like that. You can play it on Paleo Luna, which is, in my opinion, once again, one of the best heroes in the game, or you can try the club hero or even throw it on a constructor for a decent amount of damage. I ended up changing the build and adding club damage into the build with corrosive strikes, so that way I'm buffing up the actual swings. It works on the ball anyway, the corrosive strikes perk, and then the 17% extra base damage scales on top of the base weapon damage, and it just can hit harder the ball itself. So I tried to do everything I possibly could here to figure out the absolute best build, but toy around with it, manipulate what you guys want to, and see what you guys come up with. And that's it, guys, the AstroBat 9000. If you're new to the channel and you like this kind of content, think about subscribing. I post videos like this, trap tunnel guides, and more about 5 times a week. We would love to have you as part of the family, part of the pack. I'll see you guys on the next video. TikTak out.